What's up, guys? This is Eddie T, aka Slumpfish, and today we're playing with the Digitone drone, box, machine, murder weapon, Swiss Army knife, and today specifically we're going to be droning out on this box. Let's get started. So first thing we're going to do is lay down like a straight up chord. I'm just going to pick some random notes, throw them together, see how it feels. All right, I like that. Kind of jazzy. So just real quick, what we want to do is go to trig, and we're going to set this to only plays the first time. So what that means is if any note is set with that, it will only play that very first bar that you play it, and it will never repeat again. So because it's set to infinite, it will trigger once and it will just hold infinitely. All right, now that's super boring because it's just sine waves. So we're going to make this interesting. We're going to go to the synth page. So first of all, let's mess around with the harmonics. That's your waveform. I think I like that. So let's try to spice it up. Let's mess around with some ratios a little bit. Now let's go back to messing with our ratios a bit. I kind of like that. Let's detune the oscillators a little. So I have to say I really like 5. This just sounds good to my ears. Let's go with that. Okay, so moving the feedback around adds a little bit more movement to it. But that's too fast. Let's slow it down. Okay, so that's pretty sick, right? But it's still got a problem. It's still very much a wall of sound. I don't really want to have a wall of sound that just absolutely stays the same amplitude the whole time. You're probably already getting sick of it, so let's keep going. All right, so we have our note, and then we have all these steps. We have 4 pages of steps. These are all steps that we can fill in with different parameter options. So first of all, if you want to put in with a parameter lock, as they're called, if you're not familiar with Electron's workflow. With no note, you hold function, boom, a parameter lock. So I can take this and let's say for that one, we're gonna pump up the distortion. Now, if we're gonna do this, we have to be very careful though, because the way the workflow of the Electron works is it will trigger the note. This will tell it, hey, raise the distortion, as you can see right there. And then it will just hold that distortion. It will not come back down unless you later tell it to come back down. So like, listen to how it goes. So you hear that jump right there. Now, let's make it really dramatic. Let's also raise this up just for no reason. Okay, now we're gonna copy this over to the next page. Now we're gonna go over and we're going to hit that, which now untriggers the trigger, but now that we're gonna hit it again, which now holds in place the value that this was already set at. We're gonna do that again for the distortion. So now we're telling the computer to jump up in distortion and to raise the level A, and then it's gonna jump back down. So let's hear how that sounds. Beautiful. So I'm gonna sit here and I'm just gonna go through and I'm gonna add a bunch of little moments like that where things are flickering up and down. We're just gonna see how that can add texture to things. All right, so I went through and I added quite a few steps. As you can see, it's going to be a lot of fluctuations, and I messed with things like the filter. I changed the ratios, messed with the synth levels of the modifiers. Oh, I also, so if you go to synth page, you go to this, hit it twice, you get this offset section. So it gives you a very fine-tuned way to adjust the tuning of the different oscillators. So variously throughout it, I had it warped down to an out-of-tune oscillator relationship to then just go back. So it's kind of like, you know, dipping into an out-of-tune and then coming back. So let's listen to what that sounds like. All right, so let's go into amp here. Let's add some delay. Okay, so we want to make this drone more interesting. What we need is a deep, bellowing, beautiful bass, something to feel like currents, the ocean currents way below our feet. So if we're going to go really low, it probably helps to have a more clean waveform. So we'll just start out with a sine wave, even though that's extra boring. I don't know if you can hear that depending on your speakers, but I love a nice low tone like that. So now we're introducing some harmonics by bringing in the A carrier, the A modifier. And there's kind of a certain textural tonal quality to FM synths that you can hear right there. It's not ooey gooey or syrupy in the beautiful way that analog synths are, but we're gonna embrace that. That's what the Digitone is all about, is trying to embrace weird, different sounds. So. Oh, all right, I like that. It's very simple, very basic, but moving that feedback feels so good. We're going to get the feedback, set that as our destination for the LFO. Where's it at? There we go. Let's try, let's see if we can do like a ramp shape. So we have to turn it backwards to get it to drop and go up. Let's see how that sounds. All right, that wasn't what I was going for, but I also kind of like that. Let's play around with the speed. Let's go real slow. Maybe let's try a different shape. Let's go for a sine wave. And let's speed it up a little bit too. I like that. It's like it's massaging our brain. Now let's find a note that goes with our chord. One thing I want to really, what I was really excited to do with this track is the times of the beats of each track can be completely different. So we'll leave this at 64, right? But now we're gonna take this, we're gonna make it, we're gonna do function yes for per track. Now we've made that. We're gonna bring it down to like 59. So an odd number. So now every 59 beats our bass is going to start over. So it's going to be at these kind of interesting and weird intervals. Meanwhile, our chords are going to be moving to this more straightforward track, but they're going to be getting off of with each other, which I think is really beautiful. So this track is at 59 steps, right? This one's at 64, but the whole pattern is repeating at 64. So what's happening is it's playing through the whole bass line. It's getting, it's starting over at 59, and then it's going a few notes into the next bar and then starting over from there. So we need to take this. Now these polyrhythms will just continue forever. All right, let's try to keep this going. That chord is it's too boring. I'm getting really annoyed by it instead of like vibing to it. So we got to change these notes or something, man. This is way more compelling to me than that previous chord and what we were working with. Thinking maybe this tempo doesn't work though. Let's mess with the tempo a little bit. All right. Okay, so I didn't like those bass notes, so I went ahead and messed around with them a little bit, changed them a bit. I think it's a little bit better. This is starting to sound a little complex in a kind of good way. Let's keep going. Let's add some kind of really slow ethereal synth lead or something with a really slow attack. So we haven't really gone into the envelopes for the modifier levels yet. If we can set a slow attack time, it's going to bring up this as we play. I like that. Okay, what I really like to do with a lead is generally to go to our destination and try to mess with that pitch a little bit. So we're going to go pitch all. Yes. And then now we're going to, I know I've been mostly using a really boring way of doing this, but let's try that out. Ooh. Ooh. Space station. All right, let's mess with that speed. And the depth a little bit, it's a little much. Let's also go a little higher. Okay. Okay. The amplitude of that note is really kind of long and boring. So let's have it go down a little bit. We're gonna have a long release. Ooh, I love that. Some haunting stuff. So we have a second LFO here. Let's try to mess with the filter. So right now we're telling the filter to switch around to different frequencies at a kind of somewhat fast rate and to do it at totally random, values. But we're also fading in the intensity of the depth, which you can control right here. So as the note continues, it gets a little more frazzled. Let's turn the effect way up, then you'll really hear it. So that's a bit much. We don't need that. I like that. That's cool. And let's try to improvise some kind of cool lead over this drone. Okay, we made a little loop here. The loop is traveling at 64, I want to say frames, 64 steps. So let's shorten that a bit. Let's go 57. Let's also go to our master here. Let's maybe turn down the chords a little bit. Bring up the chorus. Nah, I like what that said. Okay, all right. Are still a little bit too static or something. Let's try moving in this a little bit. Okay. Taking a lot of that aggressive energy out by just pulling out the high frequencies. Let's bring them back in. Everything